After the numeric types, the next data types we want to look at are the string, the char, and the bool, which stands for Boolean. We'll start out with the string data type. A string is 0 or more characters surrounded by double quotes. So for example, the phrase "Hello World" is an example of a string. It becomes a string because it's surrounded in double quotes. And anything surrounded in double quotes is treated literally as a string. So you could conceivably have a number, 1 for example, surrounded in quotes, and then the computer treats that as a string and not as a number. The string data type is not a built-in type like int and double and the numeric types are. Instead, it's part of the standard library. And what that means is that if you want to use strings in your code, you're going to have to either #include the string library in your preprocessor directives, or #include one of the libraries that includes the string library, such as iostream. You'll remember in our example earlier with Hello World that we didn't explicitly #include the string library, but it was part of our code because we #included the iostream library. The second data type we want to look at is the char data type. A char is one or more characters surrounded by single quotes rather than double quotes. So for example, the letter Z enclosed in single quotes is a char. You notice the difference between the char data type and the string data type is you can't have a 0 or more characters surrounded by single quote marks as you can 0 or more characters surrounded by double quote marks with the string. The char is a built-in data type, which means you don't have to #include any libraries to be able to use the char data type. It comes built in and is ready to use as is. A third characteristic of the char data type is that char values are stored as an integer based on the ASCII values of characters. If you're not familiar with the term ASCII, I'd suggest Googling it to look it up. Each character and symbol on the keyboard has a corresponding ASCII value or numeric value that the computer stores internally. So you can store char values as numbers and actually save a little bit of storage space. This was very important back in the C language when memory was expensive and hard to come by, but with C++ and the introduction of large memory systems, using char values is not as important and you won't see it quite as often. The third data type we want to talk about is the bool, which stands for Boolean. A bool data type will hold true or false value. Bool is also one of the built-in data types, and so you don't have to #include a library to use it. One of the interesting things about the bool data type, and this is inherited from the C language, is that a true value has the value 1 and a false value has the value 0. At least that's how they're stored internally. So because of this, you can take a Boolean value and assign it to an int variable, so that if you displayed it, it would either be 1 or 0, depending on whether you stored a true or false value in the variable. That about wraps it up for data types. Now that we've learned the different data types that C++ handles, we're ready to start talking about variables, which is how we store data in C++, and that'll be the topic of my next video.